Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you tonight about anything about driving, air brakes, automobiles, autonomous cars, anything you want to know about passing your road test. Hi there, Bricks for Wheels. Yes, you're not late. You are on time for the live stream. So, ask me questions. The first thing I want to know is, where are you in the world? Because with YouTube, it's great because I've had a few comments this week from Germany, had another one from Turkey. Last week we had a couple of people, one person from Africa, we had another person from Mexico. So what else do I need to ask you? Class of license. Are you going for your car license or are you going for a CDL license? CDL, for those of you who don't know, stands for Commercial Driver's License. Anthony, hello, how am I supposed to set my car side mirrors? Anthony, there is a video on 8 steps to set up your vehicle. It's the very first lesson that you need to do for the purposes of passing a road test. Have a look at that. Now, just quickly, Anthony, for setting up your mirrors, when you set up the center mirror in the vehicle, the top of the mirror should be in line with the top of the window at the back of the vehicle, and you should be able to just see a little bit of the side of your head in the mirror. As well, when you're setting up the wing mirrors, the horizon should be across the center of the mirror, and again, you should be able to see just a little bit of the side of the vehicle in the inside of the mirror. So that should give you some indication of how to set up your mirrors. So let's see where we got. Kyle Crasto from Toronto. Kyle, I was thinking about you. I am doing some crash investigation there in Toronto. So, New Jersey, on the eastern seaboard of the United States of America. Fiza, where are you in New Jersey? Are you close to New York City? And Bricks for Wheels is in Manitoba. Ooh, Manitoba. Whereabouts in Manitoba are you, Bricks for Wheels? Are you in Winnipeg or are you somewhere else? I think you said you were in Brandon, didn't you? Chris is in New York. Chris, are you in New York State or are you in New York City? Jacques is from Utah in the U.S. Got my license 6 months ago. Thanks to you. I appreciate all the videos you put out. That is awesome, Jacques. You know, one of the things that, just while I'm on YouTube Live here, one of the things that I find disappointing about YouTube Live, and I need to figure out how to send a message to YouTube, is after I do these live feeds, the comments don't attach to the video when it's processed and put up on YouTube. So I need to send a video to YouTube, or a comment to YouTube, and ask them why that is, because it's a bit disappointing. Sam is here from Auto Rookie Driving School, RUKI. He's in Bronx in New York State, which is a suburb of the great city of New York. And Sam is incredibly helpful in getting licenses, and I saw this week on Instagram, is it Instagram, Sam, that you had a lot of successful drivers. So I think it's, I'm thinking the one that's attached to Facebook, but I saw it anyway. Behind the wheel, Skyry M. I watched your videos before I did my behind the wheel test and I passed. Your videos are really helpful. Thank you so much for that. That is great. Chris wanted to know hand over hand on the driving test in the USA. For the most part, it is, Chris, hand over hand. Some driving instructors will want you to do hand to hand, but the best place to get that information is from a local driving school. Call a local driving school and ask them. Let's see. Sid, I passed my Alberta Class 5 test first try. Your videos are really helpful. Thank you. From Edmonton, Alberta. That's awesome. William is from Prince Edward Island. And for those of you that may or may not know, Prince Edward Island, Charlottesville, is the home of Confederation. It was where the meeting was that formed Canada. Just a little bit of historical bit there. Faza, oh, I'm glad I pronounced your name right. I just really try to do that. CP is from Virginia in the U.S. For those of you who drive truck and go to Virginia, it's called the Mountain State. There's a reason it's called the Mountain State. You're either going uphill in Virginia or you're going downhill. I have been there. Marcus wants to know, I'm old, Marcus. Like, yeah, old. I woke up one day and wondered how I got this old. So, any student drivers getting nervous? Marcus is from Texas. Whereabouts are you in Texas, Marcus? Are you from Dallas or Houston, or are you from the other side? Somebody had a question I was answering. Okay, so Marcus, you get really nervous. Look at the video on fear and anxiety. That will give you 9 tips to reduce fear and anxiety. The other thing about the fear and anxiety thing, I know the video is a bit long. It's a 30-minute video. Do have a look down in the description. There are chapters for the sections in the videos below, so you don't have to look at it. So Marcus is from Dallas. Awesome. Been to Dallas. Every time I went to Texas when I was driving truck, I always wanted huevos rancheros, because we do not know how to make huevos rancheros in British Columbia or any other part of Canada. So if you want real huevos rancheros, you have to go to the south, and Texas is one of the best places for that. JFSA 380, just watched video on mentoring new driver trainees. Our company has us run with another driver. How do you convert actual road experience to test prep? Thank you from absolutely nowhere, Ontario. Okay, 380 JFSA. I'm not exactly following you in terms of the question that you're asking me. So you are driving with another driver. Are you driving with a learner's license for CDL experience, and you then have to take a test? Is that what you're asking me? Because I'm not quite clear what you're asking me. So maybe just clarify that for me. Fazai was being too cautious. I think I looked 2 times unnecessary in my right blind spot before turning, and he got rude and failed me. Yeah, unfortunately, some driving examiners do that. So Marion, fear and anxiety. Yes, have a look at the fear and anxiety video. That will help you out. Sam, I'm not old, just seasoned. Yes. Thank you, Sam. Yeah, we're not old. We're just seasoned. Absolutely. Bricks for wheels. Yes, most road tests in Canada are 30 to 40 minutes. By the time you get in, do your check-in, all those sorts of things. We did have a discussion here a couple of weeks ago with Sam, and the road tests in the United States tend to be a lot shorter. They tend to be sort of 8 to 12 minutes for the actual road test. So know that if you're in the US, the road test tends to be a lot shorter, whereas in Canada it tends to be a lot longer. Angel, company driver versus owner-operator, recommendations. That is a really good question, Angel. Company driver. Now, a couple of considerations about being an owner-operator is that you've got your own truck. Trucks are expensive. Trucks break down. Is it a new truck? What are your payments on that truck? How many miles a month are you running in order to make the payments on that truck? Do you have the ability to do business? Because you have to be able to do business, and you have to keep really good records when you're an owner-operator owning your own truck, because it really is. There's really 2 kinds of owner-operators. There's a truck driver with a truck, and they're not very good business people. And then there's business people who own a truck and are making good money with that truck. So, Angel, maybe one of the things that you can do is maybe send me an email. I'll send you my phone number. We can have a discussion about that, because there's just so many things about it. Now, one of the things that I did, I was a company driver, and I always stayed as a company driver, because even in the 1990s when I drove truck, I was making 32 cents a mile, plus I was making hourly wage. So it depends what you want to do. It really does. So send me an email, rick@smartdrivetest.com, and I'll leave you my phone number, and that way it will help you with those questions and considerations for being an owner-operator, okay? Yes, so Sweetie 15, she said her road test was in New York State. It was about 10 minutes long, so it wasn't very long. Okay, so Jeff, SA 380, so you're on a learner's license. You're going back. Now, one of the things about a CDL license, if you're working with other company drivers, know that the road test is going to be very different. And what I would suggest to you, 380, is to go and look at the playlist on Passing a Road Test Smart here. It's all Class 5 stuff, but most of that Class 5 stuff is applicable to tractor trailers. Now, when you're doing your road test for tractor trailer, the important points on a tractor trailer license are going to be turning, pre-trip inspection, hook and unhook, and back up. And it depends which licensing center you're at for backing up. It's going to be kind of a joke if you've already done it on the on the road. So coupling, and that's going to be a little bit different than what you're being taught on the road. And turning is going to be most important. Don't strike any fixed objects in your pre-trip inspection. And of course, shifting, you're going to have that fairly down. So that's essentially what you're up against in terms of the little bit different on the road experience to actually getting a license. What I would suggest to you is go to a local driving school, take 2 or 3 driving lessons just to get tuned up for the purposes of passing the road test. Edgar, you are most welcome. Eric, the green screen, actually I do some of my videos with the green screen in the back, and there was about a year ago I was making a lot of videos with green screen, and it was, you know, and then I just got away from it and I just went outside and started doing videos. So the green screen rather is still back there. And, you know, I have done some videos with it. I did do just recently I did the autonomous vehicles video in front of the green screen. So you just filter the green screen out and you get a white background behind you or whatever color you want or some other things. So, Sweetie15, thank you so much for that. Rick, you have the best channel. Thanks for putting videos out to help people pass. I recently passed my test on the 12th. Yes, we talked about that. Second try, and that is awesome. Promjeet, driving instructor, it depends. Do you want to be like a passenger vehicle driving instructor, or you want to be a commercial driving instructor where you teach people how to drive truck and bus? Just clarify that for me. Eric. Eric, I haven't started doing safety videos yet. My next transition, and I'm kind of transitioning into this right now, I've had just an incredibly packed full September. I'm not complaining. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the consulting work that I'm doing, but I have had a packed September with other personal things and those types of things. But yes, safety videos for trucking companies and those types of things, that's the next transition, because one of the things I'm going to do is get back into the truck and start doing training videos, and particularly doing turning. And I've actually talked to a videographer about getting a drone and doing drone shots and those types of things, and I think that would be make some really awesome videos, training videos, because I could turn the truck around a corner and be explaining what I'm doing and have a drone overhead, and you can actually see what the truck is doing for those turns and how to manipulate or maneuver that truck around the corner. Savannah, what's the best advice for first-time drivers? Okay, Savannah, my advice for first-time drivers is look at the videos down in the description here for controlling or learning how to control the primary controls of the vehicle. Go to a parking lot, get some of those 36-inch, 1-meter tall pylons, and practice working with the primary controls on the vehicle. That's where you want to start. And I know it's not sexy. It's not sexy at all to go into the parking lot and be driving around those pylons and driving in straight lines and backing up in straight lines and doing the 2x4 exercise. It's not sexy. However, once you learn those slow speed maneuvers and you become comfortable with the throttle, with the brake, and with the steering wheel, and you can manipulate all of those 3 things in combination, it's going to translate into your overall driving, and your overall driving is going to be better, much, much better, and it's going to be much easier for you to do your turns and do your slow speed maneuvers and those types of things once you actually get out on the road. Because as I say, it's kind of like Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon when the guy comes up and smashes the board. It's like he says to him, board not hit back. And you know, you can manipulate the steering wheel and the primary controls of the vehicle, but when you got it into traffic and you have to observe and communicate with other traffic and worry about what other traffic is doing, it's a lot harder. So you want to have those fundamentals of controlling the primary controls in place and be able to do that really well so that you can do all that other stuff without concentrating. Think of it like music, where you're learning how to play a guitar and sing at the same time, right? You want to learn how to play the guitar first and be competent with playing the guitar before you start trying to sing, because it's kind of like, you know, patting your head and rubbing your belly. There's a lot going on there, so you want to have those fundamentals in place. Eric, backing is sexy. Yes, that's funny. Underrated. Driving instructor vehicle or your own vehicle. It depends what kind of vehicle you have. Underrated. If you have a mid-size sedan, that's a good vehicle. If you have a Honda Civic or a Toyota Corolla, just bring your own vehicle. I mean, you can go to a driving school and use their vehicle, and also as as other smart drivers have said, you know, you can also get a mock road test. So Sam said here, keep practicing until you're driving your slow speed maneuvers and control of the primary controls does look sexy, indeed. Okay, Red Sam Potter, enjoying your videos from Africa. Yes, Kenya. There you are, woken up at 4:13. There we go. Sam, that's great. Jessica, hi, it's kind of hard for me to word this, but I'll try. I was driving on a 3-lane road a few days ago, and I was in the middle lane. Okay, Jessica, you'll have to give me the rest of that. Savannah, you are most welcome. Okay, William, you're talking about your motorcycle license and you're only 5'4". No, that's not gonna, you just need to get a motorcycle that's gonna fit you. You are talking about motorcycle, right? When you say bike, we need to distinguish between push bike and motorbike. But I think you're talking about motorbike. No, if if you're a bit shorter, it's not an issue. You just need to find a bike because there's lots of bikes out there that'll fit shorter people. So, backing up, sorry, Ninya, I don't know what I missed what you were asking me. Yeah, Lewis, yeah, unfortunately not all driving instructors are going to be, pleasant. Some of them, unfortunately did get up in the morning and spilled the milk on the floor and a few other things went wrong and they just had a bad day. And unfortunately, sometimes they take it out on their students. So, yeah, Apple Juice, what am I doing with the CRV? I'm going to throw some valves in it. Believe it or not, it's still at the mechanic. And I called the mechanic and they said they're not going to get to it till this week. So what I'm going to do is take it over to another shop that has a machine shop and they'll rebuild the top end. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend the money and just rebuild the top end. So we'll see what happens. William, yes, motorcycle. So William, you just need a motorcycle. And with motorcycles, because motorcycle riders are 35% more likely to be killed in a crash with other vehicle, I just cannot stress enough to take a course. Like, take a weekend, go and do a course, and it will just really, really help you out and give you some of the defensive strategies that you need in terms of driving. There's just so much stuff that you need to be aware of on a motorcycle, and unfortunately, when you talk about motorcycles, everybody's got a horror story. And there's lots of people who have ridden lots and lots of miles on motorcycles and never had an incident. I do really encourage you to just go and do a weekend course or a couple weeks. So just go and do that if you're going to get your license. Field to con. Passed my driver's exam first time try. Excellent. Thank you so much for that. Kyle, yes, I'll let you know how the vehicle turns out. Eric Cornelius, are you a cycle? I see the answer. Eric, yes, I am a cyclist. And actually, I've done bicycle tours. I've done Newfoundland and Cape Breton Island here in Canada. I've done Scotland. I've done Tasmania, and I've done a couple other ones. I did another one in Australia through the Otway Ranges. So, yes, I do a fair bit of bicycle touring. Actually, that bicycle shirt that I'm wearing in that, my mom and I were in a thrift shop one day, and I picked it up in a thrift shop, and I've had it for years. And it's comfortable when I'm riding the bicycle. And it's yellow because I believe in visibility when riding a bicycle. So, okay, Jessica. We're back to Jessica with 3 lanes. I wanted to make a left turn, but I was not able to switch lanes to get to the far left lane, but the lane that I was in had arrows saying I had to go left or straight. Okay. In a situation like that, is it best to let the driver in the left lane turn first and then make my turn, or how should I handle that? Okay, Jessica, what you should do, when there are 2 lanes turning left to that direction, it might be backwards for you, but turning left, you want to not be beside the vehicle beside you or in the next lane to you that's turning left. You want to straddle. So you want to be in the spaces between the vehicles in the other lane, and that's the best way to handle it. And then just look where you're going and stay in your lane. That's the best way to turn left or right when there's 2 lanes going in that direction. So just be in the spaces between the vehicles in the lane beside you, okay? Advocado, got my license a week ago in Florida, but have yet to drive alone, trying to work up the courage to getting there. Okay, Avocado, if you're working up the courage to do that, just go on just start in a residential area, suburb, or someplace that has low density traffic. Don't go out on complex areas and those types of things. And the other thing is don't do left turns. Just do right turns, just until you get comfortable with doing that. So, okay. Nargis, what is the protocol for unprotected intersections? Give the right of way to everybody else at the unprotected intersection. Pedestrians, cyclists, scooters, those types of people and those types of things. Most of the time when you find unprotected intersections, they're going to be in residential areas and low density areas. So that's what you can do for those. Alejandro, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Any tips on driving the highway? Yes, maintain a good following distance, at least 3 or 4 seconds minimum. Stay between the spaces and other vehicles and look far down the road to predict traffic patterns and what the other vehicles are doing. And if it's a multi-lane road, stay in the inside lane, the slow lane. That way you're not going to get tied up with the traffic and whatnot. Apple Juice, ever since I got my license a week ago, I've been driving nonstop. Thank you so much. You've really helped me with passing my permit and driving first try. Oh, that's really great. That's a great story. I mean, just getting your license is such a great thing, and it just gives you so much freedom. Analytically sound. I have to back up in one motion, or can I correct if I feel I'm too close? We'll back up parking on the test. No, analytically sound, you can correct. They might assign 1 or 2 demerits, but for the most part, they're not going to ding you on that. So, okay, Sid, can you explain about downshifting a manual car, especially when climbing up a steep hill? Do I need to rev match when climbing? No, Sid, you don't need to rev match when you're climbing a hill. You just shift down. If you're in a synchro mesh car, it's going to be fairly easy. You just shift down to the next gear. So, okay, underrated. When I'm going for my G test, should I park backing up for my convenience? Yes, when you park for the purposes of going in for your road test for preparation, make sure you back into the spot, because when you come out, you're just going to be too anxious, you're going to be too nervous, there's too much going on, and you want to drive out of the parking space when you start your road test. So always back into that space at the beginning. Okay, Riley, what do I do when cars drive super close behind me? Riley, you're being tailgated. So what you do is you increase your following distance in front, because essentially what you're doing is you're driving now for yourself and the goofy person behind you who doesn't know to keep enough distance behind you. That way you're not going to be prone to aggressive movements. So what you want to do is just back off on the front there, and then that way you can make more subtle movements and drive for that person behind you as well. Nargis, do you completely turn off the engine when you get gas in New Jersey? Nargis, yes, I would suggest that you turn off the engine when you're fueling up your vehicle, unless you're worried about. I have been in places in New Jersey that are questionable, but for the most part, yes, you just turn off the motor and fuel it up and then carry on with your life. PR, tomorrow's my driving test. I'm generally pretty good at everything but the parallel parking. Any tips on how I should do it? Carefully, slowly, lots of observation, 360-degree scan around the vehicle, and go slow. Because remember, if you go slow, you get time to observe, you get time to manipulate the controls on the vehicle, and if you do bump the curb, you're going to know that you bumped the curb. Because remember, it's not a fail if you bump the curb and move ahead and adjust the vehicle. It is a fail, however, if you drive into the curb and the body rocks over the chassis, or you push the tire up over the curb. That is a fail on a road test. Gordon, what is the best advice when driving on the UK if you are Canadian? You mean what's the best advice if you're driving in the UK? Like in the United Kingdom where they drive on the left side of the road? Is that what you're asking me? Yes, that's what you're asking me. Okay. Drive when there's traffic on the road. Okay, if there's other traffic on the road, then generally you're going to be okay for the most part, because you're sitting on the other side of the vehicle. So you're sitting on the right side of the vehicle, and relatively speaking, you're still sitting in the center of the vehicle. So driving on the left side of the road is not really very different. It's a little bit odd the first hour or so, but after that you get kind of used to it. And as long as you're following other traffic, you're probably not going to get into trouble. Now have a look at the video here on the channel about driving on the other side of the road, because I did make a video about that because somebody was asking me about that, so I just made a video about that. So yes. Kyle, when I'm in the second turn lane, I always shoulder check and check like crazy at the car in the other lane to make sure he's not veering into my lane. But this, yeah, that's a good tip, Kyle. Absolutely. Yes, shoulder check, make sure, and stay in the spaces between the vehicles in the other lane. And stay calm. Yes. Duty. My driving test is next month. I'm practicing every day. I'm still having difficulty when changing lanes. Could you please give me some techniques? Duty. There's several videos here how to change lanes. There's actually a playlist on how to change lanes. But one of the things you got to do with change lanes, put your signal on, mirror signal shoulder check. So you want to check the center mirror. Make sure the traffic behind you is not going to run into you when you start slowing, or when you start, figuring out where your gap is. Signal, put your signal on. You want minimum of 3 flashes before you start moving over, because you want to indicate to other traffic behind you that you're going to move over. And if you ask them nicely, oftentimes they'll help you to create that gap when you're going to change lanes. So the first flash is to get their attention. The second flash is for them to locate you, and the third flash is for them to take some sort of action, whether they want to slow down a little bit and create a gap for you to move over into. And then you want to shoulder check again before you start moving laterally into that next lane. Keep your signal on until you're completely in the other lane, and then slowly move over. And as you're moving over, you want to speed up ever so slightly as you're moving across the lanes, because you're moving on a diagonal, and because you're moving on a diagonal, you're covering more space. So to compensate for that increase in space, you got to speed up a little bit across those lanes of traffic. So just know that when you're changing lanes. And as well, just have a look at the playlist on changing lanes. Underrated. Is it safe to use the radio when the car isn't on? Yes, it is. I heard it drains the battery. It is if you leave it on for 6 hours, but for the most part, you can have the radio on. Just make sure you have your ignition on accessory as opposed to actually on. It's on when the dash lights come on. You don't want the dash lights on. As long as you've got it on an accessory, it'll last for a couple of hours. You can play the radio. It's not going to hurt the battery at all. Bricks, what is a 360-degree scan? Just checking your mirrors or also looking back? Okay, 360-degree scan, bricks for wheels, is all the way around the vehicle. It's the front, both sides, and out the back as well. So before you, and you're going to do a 360-degree scan most of the times before you proceed with a slow speed maneuver. So parallel parking, for example, you're going to come up beside the other vehicle, put the vehicle into reverse right away so that the reverse lights come on. You're going to put your right signal on to indicate to traffic that you're going to park back into that space over there. And then before you start backing up, you're going to do a 360-degree scan. So right, left, out the front, you're going to check out the back before you back up. So that's a 360-degree scan. Gordon, yes, you're absolutely right. People do think, most of the time people put signals on to tell other people that they are moving over, not that they wish to move over. And yes, you're absolutely correct. And one of my favorite sayings about signals are a request that you wish to move over, not that you are moving over. And we've all seen that. So one of my favorite sayings when it comes to teaching. Michael, got any tips for going on major roads for the first time, and got any tips for how to deal with terrified vehicles when you're the first time going out on a major road with lots of traffic? Michael, what I would suggest to you is, I think you're talking about a freeway or an interstate or something like that. If you're going out on a freeway or an interstate, just stay in the slow lane, do the speed limit, maybe 5 miles an hour over the speed limit, and just take your time and carry on, right? And just, keep a good following distance. As long as you keep a good following distance and you're staying back from other traffic and you're not really going over the posted speed limit and those types of things, you're gonna be fine, and you're gonna have a great time. Okay. Zimin, how to pull over when one road there's some curb. I'm not really sure what you're asking me. Can you just ask me that? Can you just reword that question, because I'm not following what you're asking me, okay? Lewis, when turning right into a multi-lane road using a right lane, added lane sign to it, wait for the cars in the other lane to clear. No, you don't, Lewis. So you're talking about left turning traffic coming through the intersection and you're turning right onto a multi-lane road. What you need to do is, when you turn right, is you need to turn right in between the spaces of the left turning vehicle. So don't turn in beside another vehicle, turn into the spaces between the left turning vehicles. That's how you do that. Beantown's got my driver's license, began driving in a rural setting. Would taking a defensive driving class help me become more comfortable driving in the big city? Any other tips for city driving? What I would suggest, Beanstown, is to get a veteran driver, somebody that can help you with driving in the city. and bring them with you when you go into the city, and that will help you with being comfortable with those types of things and whatnot. And as well, when you're driving through the city, just stay in the right-hand lane and keep good space between you and the other traffic, and just look far down the road and try and anticipate when the lights are going to change and those types of things. Okay. Underrated. Do you make any money from these videos you publish? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. YouTube does pay me some money for this. It's nice. YouTube advertises on my videos, and I get a kickback from those that advertising on the videos. Now, that's not, for those of you who might be thinking about opening a YouTube channel, creating a YouTube channel rather, there are lots of other ways that you make money from a YouTube channel. You don't just make money from the advertising that YouTube does in your channel. And let me just talk about that for a second, because that's a good segue. I got headhunted about 2 months ago by an expert institute in the United States, actually in New York City. And they find expert witnesses to testify on behalf of lawyers. And what happened was I got headhunted. And initially I was kind of like, no, I don't want to do that sort of thing. And a very good friend of mine said to me, listen, she said, you're just starting your business and you don't really know where this is going to go. So go ahead and do it. So I didn't really know at the time that I was, I was actually applying for a job, and I just put together a CV. And for those of you who don't know, there are two kinds of resumes. There's a resume, that is the kind of one page that you're applying for a job, and then there's a CV. It's a curriculum vitae, which is a longer version of a resume for people who tend to be professionals, like doctors and lawyers and people like myself who have higher, graduate degrees and whatnot. So anyway, I put the application in and I got the job. And basically what I'm doing is doing accident post-crash investigation is what I'm doing. And I've been awarded three cases now to investigate and provide professional opinion on these cases. And one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about in terms of driving, because I know all of you are getting your license and you're moving forward with your license and you're driving and you're trying to be safe and those types of things, is all of these crashes that I've been investigating. I mean, there's only 3 of them, but they all involve vulnerable road users. And for those of you who don't know what vulnerable road users are, those are pedestrians, motorcycle riders, cyclists, people on scooters. So people who are vulnerable, that when they get into a collision, they're either going to be killed or they're going to be severely injured. And all of these crashes that I've been investigating this far have all involved pedestrians. And one of the things that I'll say to you about pedestrians is, when I first started, before I became a driving instructor, I was an arrogant pedestrian. I hate to say that, but I would just step out into intersections in front of traffic and I'm just like, oh, they'll stop. But the bottom line is, if you get struck by a car as a pedestrian, you lose. It doesn't matter if you get struck and you get $1 million in compensation for that. What happens is if you get struck by a car, it's going to crush your femur. It's going to spin you up in the air, and you're going to hit your head on the windshield, and you're probably going to go through the windshield, and you're going to have a very poor quality of life in post crash living. So one of the things that I would like to say to you is that just be a more careful pedestrian, and because, like I said, if you get hurt in a car crash, it's really going to hurt you. So don't do that. Okay, just be very careful when you're out walking around, or you're riding your bicycle, or you're riding a motorcycle, or whatever, because you don't want to get hurt. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say about vulnerable road users, because every one of these crashes that I've investigated, pedestrians have been struck, pedestrians have been hit, and they have been hurt. And in a couple of the cases, it's been the responsibility of the driver. So be more careful in and around intersections and pedestrian crossings and those types of things. Just noticing pedestrians and whatnot, because if you get hurt or you strike somebody, like, nobody wins in a crash situation, because you as the driver are going to feel horrible about it. As well, the pedestrian is probably going to get some sort of compensation, which is going to force your insurance to go through the roof. So 2-tier things there. Yes, I get paid money from YouTube, but I also make money doing other things as well, post-crash investigation. Plus, I have courses that I've developed on my website that I want to talk to you about that. I'll talk to you about that a little later. I'll answer a couple more questions here, but start selling those as well. So that's another way that you can make money from a YouTube channel. So a YouTube channel has a lot of opportunities to create a business around, and it's a really good way to do that. Plus the fact, I'm being of service and I'm helping you guys get a license. And I don't know whether you've seen that kids book where they teach kids about emotions and filling other people's, they call it filling people's bucket, but it really fills my bucket when you guys get your license and are successful, and I've had a part in helping you do that with these videos. So that's really great as well. Okay, so Sam, here in the city, drivers just force their way in when changing lanes. I hate it when they do that. I have to explain to my students the correct way to do it. Don't be like one of those, social drivers, exactly, is what Sam says, and that's what I call it. Social driving is where people just kind of, they throw their signal on and they just start moving over. Their signals are to tell people that they are, in fact, moving over, and most of the time that's what you're going to encounter when you start driving. So just know that in terms of social driving, and that if you're a good social driver, you're not going to pass a road test, because those techniques and maneuvers don't fly on a road test. DR, do you have resources for taking a school bus road test? I don't have resources, DR, but do know that for the purposes of a school bus road test, all of the class 5 stuff, all of the passenger vehicle stuff is applicable to school bus, so know that. The only thing that's going to be different in terms of your school bus license is you're going to have to get an air brake endorsement, and you're going to have to do a pre-trip inspection. And the pre-trip inspection, you're allowed 40 minutes for that. Now, are you going to a driving school to get your school bus license? Just let me know that. Underrated. So this YouTube thing is somewhat your full-time job. Yes, it is my full-time job. It very much went to being my full-time job very quickly. So, that's really great. I mean, I do a little bit of other stuff just to sort of supplement it. Well, it's just about sustainable. It's just about there. Not quite, but just about. Okay, bricks for wheels. Remind me of the northern part of Winnipeg. Lots of jaywalking in busy streets. Yes, and in the smaller towns that you're going to be in, there's going to be more and more jaywalking. And the smaller the streets, the more residential and those types of things, yes, there's going to be more jaywalking. So know that in terms of pedestrians and other vulnerable road users on the roadway. Kyle. I don't understand why so many cyclists do not wear their helmets. Here in Ontario, the law states that adults above 18 do not need to wear a helmet. But yeah, Kyle, let me tell you, from somebody that's been run over by a bus, myself personally, I've been run into and I've been doored. I have probably, how old was I? 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I simply will not go on my bicycle anywhere without a helmet. And I will not ride with other people if they are not wearing a helmet. I just simply refuse. So maybe some of that social pressure will help cyclists to wear helmets, because I just, I am firmly convinced that the helmet has saved me 2 or 3 times, and still, more or less have most of my noggin. Yeah, and why adults over 18 don't have to wear a helmet on a bicycle makes no sense to me. I don't know what the legislation was about that. It's probably politicians trying to appease people and that sort of thing. Michael, my spelling ain't good. No, that's okay, Michael. We don't really care about that. Okay, so Michael, basically what you do in terms of defensive driving is you just keep your space. You just keep your space from other vehicles. Maintain your speed and look farther down the road. All of that is going to help you to be a safer driver. So just know that. Okay, Gordon, why are instructors underpaid? I don't know. It's just one of those things that driving instructors are not well paid, especially passenger vehicles. I know that passenger vehicles don't make much above minimum wage. And myself personally, that's why I became a commercial driving instructor, because I made more money. I mean, the other thing about commercial driving instructor was I was a truck driver at the time when I became a driving instructor. So for me, it was just kind of a natural thing to do. And when I do cars, I got to do a little bit of work and research in order to be able to do cars well. I mean, I can do it, but it doesn't come naturally to me like the trucks do. I mean, I can just get in the truck and do it, and I don't really have to think about it at all because I know so much about trucks. But that's a good question. And not only that, Gordon, there's a real social stigma attached to driving instructors, and I hate to say this, but you know, unless you're being paid as a driving instructor, people do not want to hear your opinions about their driving. I've learned that lesson the hard way. I've made a couple of comments about friends and girlfriends and those types of things while I'm in their vehicle driving, and I learned to, unless I'm being paid, stay very quiet. Or I'm making a video on YouTube, so you know. All right, JFSA, is there a part in a video for the nonsense that defines a preventable versus a non-preventable and at fault? JFSA, that is not something that you're going to be able to easily get your hands on in terms of preventable and non-preventable crashes. Because I don't, you know, as I'm learning that this stuff is really sorted out by the lawyers in post-crash investigations. And the other thing about litigation and insurance cases is that these crashes take a long time to work themselves through courts. One of the cases that I'm working on is 5 years old. The crash occurred in 2012, and this is the other thing that I was saying to you about vulnerable road users being hit and struck by vehicles on the roadway. If it goes through litigation, even if you get compensation, you're probably going to be looking 6, 7, 10, maybe 15 years before you get any compensation from that crash. So you really want to be careful, both as a pedestrian and as a vehicle driver. So know that. Johnson, having difficulties with the steering wheel. If you're having difficulties with the steering wheel, Johnson, look at the videos down in the description there for working the primary controls and going to the parking lot with those 36-inch tall, 1 meter tall pylons, and go to the parking lot and get comfortable with the primary controls, the mirrors, sorry, not the mirrors, the steering wheel, the throttle, and the brake. There, that's what I wanted to say. AT, if a driver hits you and keeps going, can you report it? Will their license be suspended if you have it recorded? If you get their license, there will be an investigation by the police, and I would strongly suggest if you can get their license, get their license. Okay, so DR, the school district provided training. Well, that's really good then. Okay, underrated highway tips. I think I went over highway tips. Maintain the posted speed limit. If you're in a multi-lane road, stay in the slow lane. Keep your following distance 3 to 4 to 5 seconds following distance, and you know, just look farther down the road, as far as you can down the road, to collect as much information about prediction of traffic and those types of things. And know that larger vehicles on highways, just one other point about highways, larger vehicles on highways, especially if they're going uphill, are going to be slower. And if you're on a 2-lane road, do look at the video here on the channel about passing. Know that there's going to be passing lanes every so often, so if you need to pass other vehicles, slower vehicles, and those types of things, just wait for the passing lanes. Don't get out and pass on a 2-lane highway if you don't have to. So just wait for the passing lane to come along. Chris Desio, are blind spot mirrors good? Yes, if you have convex mirrors that will help to eliminate or reduce the blind spots around your vehicle, then by all means, yes, get those. All right, now I need your opinion on something, because what I'm going to do is one of the videos that I was watching, if any of you are thinking about starting a YouTube channel, Sean Cannell, who is one of the top YouTubers about how to do YouTube, he has one channel called Think Media, and another one called Video Influencers. And I was watching one of his videos last week, and he suggested that we start doing, now I'm going to say this very quietly because I'm on YouTube and I don't want them to hear what I'm going to say, but start doing Facebook Live. So I want to do Facebook Live, and if anybody has suggestions about a time of the week, because I'm thinking of doing a weekly one on Facebook as well, when during the week would be a good time for you that would work on Facebook to do another live video session. And you know, I could start actually having topics, because for the last few weeks on the Smart Sunday here, I have just been answering questions for the most part, and that's sort of taken us through the whole hour. I mean, we're up to 45 minutes here, and we're talking about the whole hour here. So yeah, if you had suggestions or opinions about that, what I could do on Facebook Live, that would be really helpful. And yeah, so any help on that. And one other thing that I'm going to say is, last week I told you that I had finished the course on Pass Your Road Test First Time Guaranteed. It's a course Okay, bye-bye, India. Thank you so much for showing up. Thanks so much for your comments and questions. Underrated. You don't know because you stopped using Facebook for a while. Yeah, I stopped using Facebook for a while too. So, okay, Chris, Sunday or Monday would be really good. And I think you're right about that, Chris, in terms of Sunday or Monday, because I tend to get the most views on my videos on Sunday and Monday, and that's why I started doing Smart Sunday, is because a lot of people are here. This tends to be when I get the most traffic because people are gearing up for doing their road test for the week. So I'm trying to figure out when might be a good time on Facebook. Maybe one of the things I could do, or one of the other ideas that I had, is that I could do commercial stuff on one live feed, and then I could do passenger vehicles, so those people getting their first license on one of the other ones. So I could see how to do that. Gordon, autonomous tutorial on the future. Gordon, what do you want to know about autonomous vehicles? Okay, so AT thinks Thursday or Sunday, so I'm getting a lot of Sundays, so that would be good. Yeah, bricks for wheels. That's something else that I could try. One of the things that I have to do is I have to upgrade my webcam. I've realized that my video quality on my live feeds is not very good. So if anybody has suggestions about webcams that I might purchase, that may help as well, because like I said, that's one of the reasons why I haven't been cross-promoting my videos, is because the video quality hasn't been up to at least the standard that I would think would be very good. So bricks for wheels, that's a good suggestion about cross-promoting. So maybe I don't have to do another live stream, just move the stuff across. All right, so going back to what I was saying before, which I sort of jumped back into the comments there, was that I put up the course, Pass Your Road Test First Time, last week. And what I'm going to do, Indigo, Sunday, yes, okay, so there seems to be a consensus on Sunday. Chris, do you recommend driving schools? Yes, I do, Chris, recommend driving schools for you, because driving schools teach you how to pass a road test. They teach you how to drive and defensive driving and those types of things, but they do give you all of the techniques to pass a road test, and they will take you on the road test areas in and around the driving center where you're going to be taking your road test. So I do highly recommend 1 or 2 lessons, at least a mock road test with the driving school. So that's really good. Underrated. Logitech C922 Pro Stream. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so got 2 on the C920. Okay. Thank you so much for that help on that, and I'll have a look at that during this week and get that going. I'm in the middle of writing a crash report right now. I have to have it done for the morning, so pretty busy with that. Beanstown, would you recommend an experienced taking a defensive driving class? No, I wouldn't recommend you taking a defensive driving course. Beanstown, I would simply just recommend you try and get as much driving experience as you're going to get, because, once you get your license, you just need to get in the seat, and you need to do it, and you need to drive. So that's what I'm going to suggest to you to do, is to just drive. No, you've done all the work with getting a license and those types of things, so no, AT, I can't use the same camera I have in my car because it's a dash cam and it's got a thing in it. This is actually my webcam that I'm live streaming on, so it actually pulls it through OBS, the software OBS, and then feeds it to YouTube. So I'm actually sitting in front of my computer talking to the little green light on my computer. All right, so what I said to you last week was I actually got the course up, Pass Your Road Test First Time, guaranteed. What I'm going to do is, because I want some feedback on the course is more or less still in beta. So what I'm going to do is I have a coupon up right now. If you go over, you buy the course, I'm going to give you the course for free. If you type the coupon YouTube Live into the coupon box, when you purchase the course, it'll give you the course for free. And all I'm asking you, so all the people tonight who sign up for the course, that's what today is. Today's the 17th. So I'm going to leave the course up for free tonight and tomorrow, 17 and 18 September. All the people who sign up for it tonight will get the course for free. And all I'm asking you for is a written testimonial of whether you thought the course was good or whether you thought the course was bad, or there's some things on the course that I need to tweak and fix. There's also bonus things on the course as well, how to drive a manual transmission, winter driving, because we're not too far. We're only a few weeks from winter here for a lot of us. as well. There's also some trailering videos on there and information. And if you're doing a theory test, there are theory questions, multiple choice questions there as well for you to get ready for your theory test. So the course is really good. It's there. As I said, it's a new course, and I just want to get some feedback on the course, some things that I need to fix and tweak and amend. So today, 17th September, and tomorrow, 18th September, the course is free for everybody who signs up today and tomorrow. Type the coupon code YouTube Live into the coupon box, and that'll give you the course for free. Sam. And, you know, Sam, I agree with you exactly. They think it's dangerous and it's, you know, on the edge of terror most of the time. But no, actually, it is fun and relaxing because, I mean, you and I both have strategies in place. You know, if the student gets into trouble, we just talk them through it. We take a break. If they really get into trouble, we can get a hold of the steering wheel. We can dump the transmission into neutral and take control of the vehicle. I mean... I had a student one time in a big truck, and it was pretty funny because he was going through the intersection and he wanted to turn it like a car, and I'm like, no, don't turn it. Well, he kept turning the steering wheel. Well, I got up out of the passenger seat, undid my seatbelt, got up, and I grabbed a hold of the steering wheel and stopped him from turning and kept the vehicle going straight through the intersection before he could turn. He was actually standing up with both feet posted on the ground trying to turn that steering wheel. It was quite comical in the aftermath, but in the instant of doing it, I think he was terrified that there was something wrong with the steering wheel because I was holding it and preventing him from turning left through an intersection. So that was one of the things about driving truck. So we're just about near the end here. There doesn't seem to be too many more comments. Everybody going back to school, the road test has certainly slowed down from August, that's for sure. Diamond, I have my doubts about tow trucks. How do you mean, Diamond, that you have doubts about tow trucks? I might have missed the earlier comment. Gordon, do you recommend specialty courses for winter driving? What I really recommend for winter driving, Gordon, is wait for a snowfall and then go out to a parking lot and just go out and have fun. Just go out and do some donuts and those types of things and really get used to it. And, you know, just drive down the parking lot and just hit the brakes and spin around and those types of things. So... yeah, but if you have access to going to a course for winter driving, then by all means go and do that, because I mean that will certainly help you out in the wintertime, especially if you haven't driven in the wintertime before. I would really suggest that. Okay, yeah, AT was a pretty funny story. So unless anybody has any more questions, I'll wrap it up there. And again, 17th September, 18th September, all of the people that sign up for Pass Your Road Test first time, the course is free. Type into the coupon box YouTube Live and you'll get the course for free. And I just asked for a written testimonial for that course. And yeah, William, what are 5 things you would keep in your car in the winter time? Medication. If you have any medication that you need, keep medication in the vehicle. Keep some sort of candle and a pot and a blanket. And if you can buy an emergency kit and those types of things. And also, if you're driving on highways and those types of things, have a shovel that you can dig yourself out of the ditch and that sort of thing, because sometimes that's all you need to get out of the ditch and whatnot. But most of the time, you just a blanket, some non-perishable food, a candle, some sort of pot that you can melt some snow. Keep your cell phone charged up. If you don't have a charger, go and buy a charger so you can keep your cell phone charged in the thing. And what else did I say? Medication. Yes, if you're on medication, you need medication in your car, make sure you have extra in your car in case you get stranded somewhere. And as well, if you do drive in the ditch, do not go walking around in the wintertime when it's minus 20 and blowing a blizzard. Okay, stay in the vehicle. It's much, much safer. They will come and find you. Okay, Diamond, I have seen one tow truck with the lights on behind us. What should we do? Do we have to yield when the tow truck is on? No, you don't have to yield to the tow truck. Just if the tow truck's on the side of the road and pulling a vehicle out of the ditch or those types of things, make sure you slow down and try and give them as much room and those types of things as you can, Diamond. Other than that, no, it's not like an emergency vehicle. You don't have to pull over to the side of the road and whatnot for a tow truck that's just got its lights on and going up and down the road. Okay? AT diesel or gas? AT, most of the time it's going to be a gas vehicle. I mean, unless you buy a Volkswagen Jetta, which get really good fuel mileage, then you might want to consider a diesel. But for the most part, I mean, unless you've got a big pickup truck and you're hauling a lot, then you just want a gas vehicle. Okay, Dylan. Okay, Dylan, why did you fail your road test? Did they give you reasons about why you failed your road test? You are most welcome, Diamond. My pleasure. I'm just waiting for Dylan to give me an answer to my question, and then, like I said, we'll probably leave it there and carry on here. And I'll just repeat here again that pass your road test first time, guaranteed, free for everybody today and tomorrow that signs up for the course. And I just asked for a written testimonial of things that I need to amend, tweak, what you thought of the course, whether it's hard and those types of things. And it's both for practical and theory, and it's guaranteed, like I said, it's guaranteed to pass your road test first time. All right, so Dylan, just I haven't, okay, there you go. Last time was traffic violation, and the other two were parallel parking. Okay, so what I would suggest, Dylan, is to practice your parallel parking. If you had a traffic violation, there really isn't anything that you can do. Okay, general steering. Go back to the basics. Go back to the fundamentals. Look at the video down in the description, Dylan, that shows you how to work the primary controls. Go to the parking lot and spend a day, maybe 2 days in the parking lot with those 36-inch tall, 1 meter tall pylons, working the primary controls, the throttle, the clutch, the brake, and do the work with that, and get really comfortable with that, and then go back and practice that. Okay, so underrated, you go over to the website, www.smartdrivetest.com, and you'll see the image there on the front, and right on the right side of the page, about halfway down that list, you'll see pass your road test first time, and it's just right there, okay? If not, just send me an email, rick@smartdrivetest, and I'll send you a link to it, and you can do that. As well, if the first image that comes up, if you click on that, you go to the bottom of the page and it'll say buy course. That's the other way you can find it. Okay, no worries. My pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Thank you so much for your time and your questions and your comments. And it is really you that makes all of this possible and makes Smart Drive Test successful. And it really is successful. We're closing in on 25,000 subscribers, which is just beyond my wildest dreams. So, you know, because last year when I was doing this, it was pretty quiet for most of the year. And so now it's really great, and the questions are really awesome. So if you're doing a road test this week, oh, I forgot to say, congratulations to all the successful smart drivers who passed the road test this week. You are most welcome, Sam, and you take care as well, my friend, down there in the Bronx. Okay, so good luck to all the smart drivers who are taking their road test this week. Be sure to sign up for the course, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. All the best. Bye now.